Nice and crispy.
Today we'll be focusing on starches, specifically 30-minute air fryer potato crisps. A quick way to create a healthier alternative to your typical potato chips that you might be craving at one minute or another. For this, you'll need a medium-sized potato, Idaho of course, at least 5 to 10 toothpicks, a plethora of seasonings, peps and salt of course, maybe some white vinny, who knows, we're getting crazy over here, garlic powder, and possibly a pinch of paprika. Lastly and most importantly is the mandolin, preferably one with a sliding guard. This baby ran me about $10 to $15 and has greatly increased my consistency in slicing. Moving on now to the actual food prep, because that's why y'all are watching this video, you don't really care about my opinion on kitchen appliances. First rinse off your potatoes, and then thoroughly dry with a kitchen rag. Now in the efforts of preventing bowl slippage, place your damp rag underneath your slicing bowl before grabbing your mandolin. Chalk that dial up to level 2 slicing, which should yield about an 1/8 inch thick piece, and then grab your tater and slide it down the plastic towards the set blade. Successively scrape your spud down the blade and contemplate making a submission to one of those oddly satisfying pages on Snap. Now when you're getting close to the end of the tuber, start thinking about using your sliding guard to prevent accidentally hitting your thumb. Watch out for them rogue root vegetables always trying to make a run for it. So now you can see where the mandolin is completely worth the purchase. Unless you're a master with a chef's knife, it's almost completely impossible to get this consistent of a thickness and cut otherwise. Take your slices and collect them into smaller stacks, about 8 layers thick. Take the time now to pull aside any of the smaller pieces that might otherwise burn in the cooking process. You want everything to be uniform in size. And slice your starches lengthwise to create a wedge-like shape in all of your stacks. Go and grab those toothpicks you forgot about, and begin skewering the wedges one by one, leaving just enough room between each one so that they don't touch during the air frying process. This is probably the most time-intensive part of the process, but I promise that it's worth the attention to detail. Keeping these spaced out will allow the airflow in the air fryer to cook more evenly throughout, and crispen up the chip. We're going after a deep-fried kind of crunch, but without nearly as much oil in the end product. So now after you've time-lapsed your way through the skewering process, you'll want to place your skewers on a plate and begin thinking about the seasonings for each of them. For starters, I went ahead and added a touch of olive oil spray to both sides of the skewers to help with the adhesion of some of the seasoning. Salt, black pepper, garlic powder, paprika, and white vinegar. Jumping back into time-lapse mode, lightly salt all 8 skewers, black pepper 4 of them, garlic powder on 2, paprika on 2, and vinegar on the last 2. If your air fryer is anything like mine, remove the convection top and the plexiglass shroud. Next, add a light coating of oil to the metal grates to prevent any stickage down the line. Now begin placing your skewers on the grate, and make sure that the slices run perpendicular to the rungs of the grate. Be careful not to overcrowd anything. You really want to allow for sizable airflow in your air fryer. Replace the plexiglass covering, along with the convection top, twist to lock, and cook on high for about 7 minutes for the first side. Because the heating source for the air fryer is centrally located, you'll want to move your skewers around, maybe rotate some of them. Ones in the middle will have experienced more direct heat and airflow, which means that they are likely closer to being done. Basically, center ones go to the outside, and outside ones go to the center. Once fully mixed and matched, replace your covering and finish on a high temp for an additional 5 minutes. This time, run a time lapse to show how the taters lose their moisture and crispen up for the final product. Overestimate how heat resistant your hands are and nearly burn them on the hot plexiglass before starting to plate your crisps. Now take a second to see just how browned and crunchy these spuds have made it. Now at this point, once you have all of them off of your air fryer grate, you can choose to serve them with or without a toothpick, completely up to you. If you choose to remove them, do so carefully because some of them will snap on you if you're not watching. Go ahead and enjoy these crisps as is, or grab a bit of ketchup to dip. If you're feeling particularly bougie, throw a bit of parsley on it as well. And there you have it, 30-minute air fryer crisps. A nice alternative to your standard potato chips, and also make for a solid snack without becoming too heavy of a meal. As always, recipe is listed below, and thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions on what you want to see next, leave it in the comment section.